All right, so our next speaker is Dylan Nelson. He's going to be talking about the future of social media. Give him a hand.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Oh, that's loud, I'm sorry. If you were wondering, this is not a robot arm. I actually hurt myself, so that's why I have that. But I did want to just say thanks again for this opportunity. My name is Dylan. I'm one of the co-founders of WeDream. It's an augmented reality company. And then I've also been a part of other founding projects, NFT collections that sold out about 10K back in the end of January. So wanted to talk on the topic of social media, the future of social media, where I believe it's going. Growing up as a millennial, I think many of us, I was a part of the Web 2 social media boom that the experience. And I remember the days of MySpace when, everybody came in and you got to set your profile picture in the background and the music and everything was happening. And you kind of argued with people on who was your top friends, and then from there, we've seen a variety of different social media platforms take off. And so since then, it being a part of the different social media platforms, I've gotten the experience and the time to be able to see all the different changes in the, progress of what the social media platforms were doing. And then COVID 2020 hit, like many of us know, and we were all stuck in our house. And it was from there that I realized that social media just wouldn't do it anymore. I don't know about you, but I think the first 3 weeks that I was locked away in my house for COVID, I thought it was amazing. Played a lot of Call of Duty, and then all of a sudden, it just wasn't great anymore. And I started to feel, like many of us, a little maybe anxious, a little, cooped up, and wanting to have that social interaction. And if we're being honest, I think that many of us probably went through some sort of a similar experience. Social media and online platforms were great until they just weren't anymore. And if you're like me, you begin to crave a deeper interaction. So WeDream is the augmented reality company that we are actually creating, and we're releasing the beta test version currently. And I believe that solves that problem. When we think of an augmented reality application, most of the time, or when we think of the metaverse, most of the time people think of a concept like Sandbox, or they think of Decentraland, or they think of some sort of maybe equipment where you have to put on this Oculus goggle headset. The problem with that is sometimes it can be expensive, and it limits the barrier to entry for a lot of people to actually get into it. WeDream is what I believe truly what the metaverse is, because it implements the virtual world on top of the physical world. With only the need of a smartphone, people can now hop into this application, and which we call Dreams, and be able to interact with people on a one-on-one basis. And so if I have my smartphone standing up and you have your smartphone, and maybe I'm in New York and somebody else is in Florida and somebody else is in California, we are able to now interact with each other as if we're in the same room, using floor syncing, corner syncing, stuff like this. This will allow people to truly be able to interact with everybody as if they are in the same room. It has things such as spatial audio, and you can create things within these dreams, within these worlds. From a user standpoint, this is an app that's going to be free for everybody, and this allows the masses to truly take onto it. So it is an application, it is on your smartphone, and it is the future of social media for many reasons that allows you to, one, interact with people, but two, really expand on the direction of where we're headed from this industry. To talk a little bit more, if you're a creator in here, do we have any artists in here, any creators? Maybe a couple of us. If you're a creator in here, you'll be able to monetize from this system. The NFT crypto world is all about figuring out ways to help monetize the users and not big tech companies. So as a creator, you'll be able to create within the application yourself and sell, whether it's skins, wearables, whatever it is within the application, and be able to make a profit for it yourself while also building the entire application. We truly just want to create the infrastructure to allow people to come on board and to use it to however they see fit. WeDream provides this infrastructure and allows us to truly have this immersive experience within augmented reality. I believe personally in augmented reality because I think that this is something that will take on not just social media, but allow people to have business meetings, corporate meetings, all sorts of different type of experiences. And so I wanted to take just a moment to kind of just talk through basically more about that augmented reality experience, but I believe we're going to have myself speak to the host, wherever he is, and talk a little bit more about it, but just wanted to give you a little backdrop to where I'm coming from. So, Ken? Maybe? Do we have any questions while we wait for him? I can answer questions.
Here we go.
Cool, sweet.
Here we go. Yeah, if you want, you
Good.
can have a seat, bro. All right. So, yeah, man, let's talk a little bit about social media and the future of it. I guess we could start a little bit on like blockchain, you know, how blockchain is going to be more involved in social media. What are some of the benefits or maybe some of the detriments that it could provide to the experience people have today?
Yeah, so one thing that I've seen is that, and actually I saw this when I was in NFT Miami. There's a lady named Swan Kim, I think her name is, and she was like the ex-CEO of like Nike and, or I'm not the ex-CEO, but ex-digital marketing person of Nike and a few other big corporations. And one thing she said really stuck out to me, but when we think of like technology and we think of social media, oftentimes we think of, okay, these guys are just trying to get my money and to utilize my information to profit themselves. The difference with blockchain and the difference with where we're headed with NFTs is the user, like I mentioned previously, will now be able to monetize themselves. This is important for you, but it's also important for the industry as a whole. No longer are the days where somebody's going to be able to come up to you and steal your information and sell it, but you can actually choose who you want to have ownership of your information. So if you truly really like Nike shoes, you can give Nike a little bit of your information. Maybe they do some airdrops of NFTs or something inside your MetaMask or your wallet and be able to maybe give you discounts or perks on those items.
That sounds cool. It'd be nice to see Facebook airdrop me some sats for all the ads I have to see every time I go on to see what my grandma's been up to.
Dude, heck yeah.
If I Google anything, it just hits me in the face, and every once in a while, I guess 1 out of 10, I'm buying it. But yeah, it would be nice to see them just give me an airdrop. They're giving you money to spam me with these ads.
Absolutely, and sometimes that actually gives the creator, that gives the user a lot more power in what they're actually doing. So yeah,
I think it'd be really powerful to see these tools utilized by micro brands instead of the big ones, you know, like mom and pop shops that are right down the street, the corner stores. Yeah. Their ability to now compete with these big companies that come into town. Like, you know, if you're a small pizza store and Papa John's comes in, it's a bummer because they have all these connections and influence in the social media world.
Totally.
How do you even compete with getting the people that live right down the street from your shop to see that you even exist over the people that are miles away just because they have bigger names?
Absolutely, and it's like collecting their ETH address or the wallet address and just doing these random airdrops, or even figuring out a way to do an airdrop. Like if everybody in the vicinity of 1 mile could get like an airdrop of the product that you're trying to sell for the mom and pop shop. So eventually it'll probably end up being like email spam. I think I was just talking to somebody actually about this a few minutes ago. But I think for now, it would be a really cool idea if we integrated some sort of a system where we could just airdrop people randomly these discounts or these codes, and why not? I mean, we're in the NFT space.
Yeah, like, share, retweet, get 10% off at checkout.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so where do you see NFTs with social media? You know, do you think that these PFPs are the future, or is there something beyond this?
So oftentimes when somebody new comes to me and they're asking me about NFTs and they're asking me about like what is it, and is it just this big monkey picture or whatever it is.
Is it just PFPs? Is that
exactly. There's so much more. The easiest way that I like to explain it to people is imagine you have like an American Express like card, or you have like the black card that that has some sort of a membership benefits. Like your card isn't your physical representation of your money, but it just shows. I mean, it is the physical representation, but it's not the money itself.
Right.
You know, you have benefits that come alongside.
People are getting more familiar with using their phones for tap and pay, and less familiar with whipping out their wallet and getting that card anyway. So
Absolutely.
We're getting closer by just average user experience.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I think that people like profile pictures is definitely a big portion, and I am a creative myself, so I love the fact that creatives are monetizing this because, as we know, many artists haven't really had the chance to make a lot of money in the past from their art, just because, one, it's hard. You have a really cool painting, you're really passionate about this thing, and then you say this is like worth $5,000 because it's worth $5,000 to me. That's a hard sell to a lot of people, but NFTs has really created a less barrier to entry for the art product, so I definitely love that.
Yeah, a lot of amazing technologies are first utilized as art. I imagine the invention of fire was probably considered art until somebody realized they could cook something on it. I mean, they just stared at the beautiful flames like we do today, drunk in our backyards, but that was their, Netflix, and they were like, wait, we could take this technology and cook with it, and I think that's what we're seeing being done with NFTs. It's very early technology, and we're just cavemen staring at it until we realize, oh, we can do this with it.
Yeah, and I genuinely believe that like 90% of all digital assets at some point is going to be an NFT. And the reason for this is because it's just a verification. It's like each of your, your tickets, your receipts, your home deeds, or whatever it is, they all need to be verified at some sort of capacity, and what we're doing with this is we're just putting a blue check mark, an invisible blue check mark on top of the receipt saying that this is an actual legit document. And I actually, to touch on that too, one analogy I heard that was really good is there's a lot of people who maybe are in like countries like Kenya or something who they get a college degree and they're unable to prove that college degree is legitimate in a lot of different countries. And so what NFTs do is it puts that invisible blue check mark on it, and it allows and shows people that no, this is a legit document. So if they want to travel to like Europe or the US or wherever they want to travel to, that's, they're like, okay, this person's actually a doctor.
Yeah, imagine looking on Twitter and seeing that the shape of somebody's PFP lets you know that they are a doctor. If you have a star shape, they're a verified doctor on Twitter. They've shown their documentations and this. So having used that with NFTs is sort of just common sense in our environment where we're immersed in it. But I think when people look at it from the outside, especially thinking social media, username, password, shit, I forgot my password, I lost my email, something happens. What if I lose my private keys? There's no customer support.
Yeah.
So where do you see the harder side of this, where after we have on-ramp, that technical issues, can they be eased, or is it just education? People just have to be aware?
At first it will be a huge educational piece. Like there's going to be a lot of people who are going to, if they just don't know, they probably end up losing something. Like I know plenty of friends who have like tried to onboard into NFTs, into crypto, and they lose their keys or they lose their passwords.
My first blockchain social media account was on Steam. We were talking a little bit backstage. Fun fact is I lost the private key the moment I made that account on Steam. I had the private key, and for some reason I didn't copy paste save it somewhere. And when I went to the next screen, I just lost that username to the blockchain forever.
Well, and I think for the future of that, which that really sucks. I'm sorry.
No, it does.
but I think to the future of that, honestly, that's just going to be somebody who, like a Coinbase, where hey, they technically, not
sort of like log in with Google, log in with Facebook, a middleman of that nature.
But the people who do want to have the true ownership of it will have the ability to have the ownership of their own, maybe Ledger wallet or something. But if they want to have their NFTs or their social media decentralized, they have that ownership, or they can go underneath like an Instagram and say, hey, I'll let you handle this because I just
they'll be the ones curating your private keys for you.
100%.
Yes. Thank you much. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Give Dylan a hand. Thank you.